Practice number 7 for UNLV football's fall camp is officially in the books, and it puts an end to what has been a very eventful week for UNLV football. There's been some exciting, newsworthy things that have happened both on and off the field. This week's episode will be focused a little bit on the off the field stuff, just to get you guys excited about the upcoming season and what the nation is expecting from UNLV football.
Watch the breakdown.
Another week of fall camp in the books. The Rebels are off and running, getting into the rhythm of things, and a couple of milestones for fall camp have occurred in the past week. UNLV had their first full padded practice, so the boys got a chance to get after each other a bit. A little bit of live reps, a little bit of contact, never hurt nobody. And of course, UNLV got a chance to get the pads clapping, as they say, which is always fun. Football has changed and evolved over the years. There's no more two-a-days. Full pad practices are few and far between, even in fall camp and, of course, into the season. So anytime you get a chance to strap them up for real, it feels good. But I will say UNLV has kind of gotten better at the tempos of practice. So oftentimes when you're out there, the way that they practice doesn't really change much, from just shells to helmets and full pads. A lot of the drill work that they do is the same regardless of what they're wearing. But it's good. It's a milestone for camp to kind of know that you're in the thick of things when you finally put those pads on. Also, this week, UNLV got to do something that I kind of hinted at not many universities having the ability to do, and that was practice at a professional football team's headquarters. So in the middle of the week, the Rebels got a chance to practice at the Raiders headquarters over in Henderson. Of course, the Raiders are out of town doing their fall camp in California, so there was an opportunity available for UNLV to utilize those state-of-the-art facilities up in Henderson, and they took full advantage. Rebel players got a chance to beat the heat as well as get out of the poor quality of air that is caused by some wildfires happening near the Las Vegas area by practicing indoors at the Raiders facility, which was an awesome experience, I'm sure, for all the players. It is a beautiful thing to brag about if you're the program that is UNLV. I talked about it a little bit before, some of the benefits of having a professional sports team in your city as a college town, and UNLV for sure is milking that and getting the benefits of that relationship as this season is upon us. So Raider-Rebel relationship, as I have dubbed it, is in full blossom, and I think they're capitalizing on it in a multitude of ways. Max Crosby holds a camp there, the sack summit, that he was out teaching the defensive linemen and rushers how to get sacks. I guess that's what they were talking about. Not my favorite subject as a former quarterback. So, but Max Crosby interacting at Fertitta Complex, hosting that camp there, as well as the president, Sandra Morgan, being able to speak to the team after practice there on the field. It was an opportunity that you just don't get many other places. So UNLV tapping into that relationship for sure. With all of that excitement, of course, those are very exciting things. A couple of things dropped as well off the field. So some names for some watch lists were finalized for the preseason individual awards. So these awards are awards that happen after the season concludes, and each player gets awarded them accordingly. But in the preseason, the watch lists are released, and these are the players that the nation thinks, that national media thinks, should be in contention for some of these end-of-season awards. And UNLV made a splash. Again, they made a splash at Mountain West Conference Media Day when so many of their players were mentioned as potential all-conference players, as well as UNLV itself being predicted to finish second in the Mountain West. But to add to that, some individuals at UNLV are now on watch lists for those end-of-season accolades. And I tell you what, that's just a very exciting thing for the individuals, of course, but for the program as well, to tout that you have an award watch list member as a part of your team. And UNLV released some of these names on social media, so if you know them, you're familiar with them. But I'm going to go down that list right now as some of the other news that happened during the week. Ricky White is coming off of a historic season where he broke some records at UNLV as a wide receiver, and by the end of last season, he was being mentioned in the runnings for the Blitnikoff Award. Well, because of the way he finished last year, he is now on the preseason watch list for this season for the Blitnikoff Award, which goes to the best wide receiver in college football. Now, Ricky White has been mentioned and named as potentially the best returning wide receiver in all of college football. Obviously, last year's draft was really heavy at the receiver position. Ricky decided to stay, not just stay in college, but stay at UNLV. So naturally, he's going to be mentioned in the preseason watch list for the Blitnikoff Award this year. So excited to see what Ricky does to follow up such a spectacular year. I think he was snubbed as a finalist last season for the Blitnikoff Award, so we'll see what he does to follow it up. Also, Ricky White has been named to the Walter Camp and Maxwell Award watch list to go along with the Biletnikoff, but he's already said he has his eyes set on being the best wide receiver in college football. That is a quote from Ricky White himself. So he is eyeing that number one spot for college wide receivers. Jacob DeJesus had a breakout season with the special teams unit as a return man and received some All-American recognition for his efforts last year. This year, he will be on the Jet Award watch list in the preseason, which goes to the best kick returner in all of college football. But he will also be on the Paul Hornung Award watch list, which goes to the most versatile player in all of college football. So we know about Jacob DeJesus, the return man. We saw glimpses of him at a receiver spot, but didn't really make the splash I think he's capable of. Somebody took note of his versatility and nominated him for the Paul Hornung Award. So now the nation will be watching to see how Jacob DeJesus can impact the game outside of just kick return and punt return. Staying with the offense, Jaden Thomas, the freshman running back from last season, who had all kinds of success in the early going of the season, had the most rushing touchdowns of any freshman running back in all of college football by the end of the season, is up for an award as well, at least on the preseason watch list for an award. The Doak Walker Award goes to the best running back in college football. Jaden makes his way onto that list. As mentioned, Jaden Thomas had a spectacular freshman year, and if not for his quarterback, Jaden Mayava, being freshman of the year in the conference, he definitely had a nod to get that award. So he's looking to follow it up with a strong sophomore campaign behind a very strong offensive line. The ground game is so important to UNLV's success, and Jaden is looking to lead the way in the running back room, which had some turnover, but I think Jaden, as a consistent piece in that backfield, you can't go wrong with Jaden Thomas. So he's up for the Doak Walker Award. We'll be excited to monitor his success and where the numbers take us by the end. And, of course, to round things off on the offensive side, we mentioned the running back. And in front of every strong running back, there's an even stronger offensive line that helps lead the way. In this case, that is no exception. And the big boys up front don't get enough recognition, but two Rebel offensive linemen get some preseason recognition on the Outland Trophy watch list. That is Tiger Shanks and Jalen St. John. Both of those big boys up front find themselves on the watch list for the award that goes to the best interior offensive lineman in college football for that year. So Tiger Shanks and Jalen St. John find themselves on the watch list. You can't be happier as a big fella to get recognized for your efforts. Obviously, they paved the way all season long for Jaden Thomas to run to success. UNLV had one of the top rushing offenses in all of college football last year. And the big boys up front helped get it done. And they look to get it done this year, making their way onto the Outland Trophy watch list. Switching gears to the defensive side of the ball. Yes, there's more to this watch list. There's a lot of people that receive some preseason watch list recognition. But switching to the defense, Cam Oliver, who is a cornerback out of Texas, had a spectacular year last year, finishing with 5 interceptions. And if you remember the bowl game, 2 of those interceptions were massive interceptions to change the momentum of the game and give the Rebels a chance at a comeback down the stretch. But Cam finished the season with 5 interceptions. He will be on the Jim Thorpe Award watch list to start the 2024 season. If he can duplicate what he did last year, I see no reason why he may end up being a finalist as well for the Jim Thorpe Award. And, of course, along with Cam Oliver on the defensive side for UNLV, Jackson Woodard finds himself on yet another few preseason watch lists. The Nagurski Award, which goes to the top defensive player, as well as the Warfel Trophy. He's also up for the AFCA Good Works Trophy, which goes as more of a off-the-field award recognizing community service and your contributions outside of the game of football. So Jackson Woodard, a stand-up guy on and off the field, is, of course, up for more preseason watch lists. And we'll see how all of these players kind of progress toward those goals as the season progresses. And there's one more. There's one more that I have to mention. I made you think that was the end of the list, but we talked about offense and defense, and now we talk about special teams. And special teams was a big-time story for UNLV football last year, and a big part of special teams was punter Marshall Nichols, who is on the preseason watch list for the Ray Guy Award this season. Now, Marshall had a big season last year, averaging 47.1 yards per punt, which was good for 6th in the nation, 2nd all-time in UNLV history, behind Randall Cunningham. Yeah, so a lot of people are behind Randall Cunningham in the record books. So it's okay, Marshall, to be 2nd to Randall Cunningham. But Marshall Nichols made big-time contributions throughout the year. His best game, I believe, just in my off the top of my head memory, came against Air Force, where he pinned the Falcons deep in their own territory a couple of times. But the biggest play, I think, of his career was the fourth down fake punt, where he completed the best pass of his life for a fourth down conversion that came out to be a pivotal point in that game. Really helped the Rebels secure and hold on to the lead to finish things off in that one. But Marshall Nichols is a preseason watch list candidate for the Ray Guy Award. So that's it. That's it for this episode. It was really just about the off-the-field recognition that came down one after another this week. The press releases were rolling for UNLV. A lot of these preseason nominations are really kind of record-breaking, historic for UNLV football as a program, because you just don't see this as much. It started with the Mountain West Conference nods, and the number 2 ranking was the first time in school history that had happened in the Mountain West. And then you follow that up with these national lists where your players and individuals are being recognized. All of that on top of the fact that UNLV has a record-breaking 11 national TV games that they'll be playing in this year. Really, this offseason has been fun to kind of see how UNLV has blossomed into sort of a darling in the media. In some regards, I don't want to overblow that, but they have. Interesting note on the side of that, talking about popularity and people talking about UNLV, there's been a lot of talk around the college football community and the gaming community. We talk about EA Sports College Football 25, about the UNLV offense. And I've seen people reacting to the bits and pieces of the go-go offense that made their way into the video game. And it's taken that community by storm as well. Some gamers and people that aren't familiar with UNLV are getting a glimpse of the go-go offense through a video game, and it's then turned into popularity for UNLV football. People are picking their favorite university or school, let's say the Texas Longhorns, and using UNLV's offense with their favorite team, which is crazy to think about. But UNLV has made itself to a relevant position in college football, and I couldn't be more excited about it. And if you're excited about UNLV football, don't forget to purchase your tickets for either season tickets or single game tickets at UNLVtickets.com. And they also have some premium seats available where you get club access. You can rent out the clubs, you can rent out some of the suites there at Allegiant Stadium that are fantastic, best in the country by far. So go to UNLVtickets.com to purchase your tickets and get a chance to witness what unfolds on the field in 2024 up close and in person at Allegiant Stadium. Again, UNLVtickets.com. I said that like it was a paid ad, but it was not. I just really want you to know where you can buy your tickets so that we can pack out Allegiant Stadium and make sure that the home field becomes a home field advantage in 2024. So if you like the video, make sure to click the thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to get more content around UNLV football. Also, be sure to leave a comment down below on who you think will end up a finalist on these watch lists for these individual awards for UNLV. Let me know if you think there's a name maybe that you expect to be a sleeper for these watch lists coming out of UNLV. I'd be excited to know what you think. It's been fun. That'll wrap it for this episode. I'll see you next week for episode 4 of The Breakdown. Peace.